Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. It's been a few weeks since we last heard any meaningful news about the Call of Duty Zombies comic, and so we're due an update, and that update has come in today. It's actually a preview of the next issue of the comic, which nominally is supposed to be releasing on the 1st of March. Now, that may well end up getting delayed because previous issues have been delayed, and so I wouldn't be surprised at all if it happened to this one too, but the 1st of March is when we should be seeing this new comic coming out, and we already know the bio of that comic and the next comic. So I'm going to go through those now very briefly, and then I'm going to flick over to the preview itself, and we can read through a couple of pages of the comic a little bit early, okay? So the next comic that we're going to be getting is issue number 3, and its bio is that when an AI security system tries to destroy the TRANZIT crew, Martin must use his tech skills to outwit the digital defenses. Misty reminds him that he can't survive on his own. It's going to take more than know-how and smarts to get everyone out alive. The group decide to take a chance on escaping from the zombie-infested apocalyptic wasteland, not knowing if their desperate attempt will work or where it could take them. So that's issue number 3. It's got Martin on the front cover. That's what we can expect from the next issue. The one after that will follow the following form. Martin, Misty, Russman, and Stullinger think they've found a moment's peace, but the approaching horde of zombies is about to destroy that. Faced with the decision of fight or flight, the crew argues and splits up. When Maxis's emergency security measures are activated, will it be every man for himself? So, that's where things are going to be going in the future, and that comic issue cover is also really interesting because it seems to sort of break the form of a continuous running image and actually slot itself below the first issue's cover, and I've talked about that in another video which you can find on the screen just over there, so go watch that if you feel so inclined. But let's, without further ado, talk about the actual preview of comic number 3, and speculate about how it might run into issue number 4, which we already know a little tidbit of information about. So, it starts off as follows. Martin says, "Your friend should open the portal now," because obviously Stullinger has been talking to this friend in his head that we're oh so familiar with throughout the previous comics, and essentially opening portals for the crew, which have ended up taking them to new locations, but then they've left the portals open, and so there have been zombies in the new locations, and things haven't really improved. Stu says, "My friend isn't answering my calls," and you see a load of zombies getting absolutely blown to smithereens, that eyeball going flying there, looks like a tadpole. Martin then says, "Perhaps if we give them this element?" Are you insane? You can't reason with zombies. Martin responds, "I can't reason with any of you. Nevertheless, I continue the attempts. How noble of you, Martin." There's then a zombie there, pointing his little finger, giving it a good point as something else explodes in a load of blood, and then says, "He'll save us. This is not how I die. I am useful. He needs me." And this is really a theme that Stu has been presenting time and time again throughout these comics. He's obsessed with the fact that he knows how he dies, and this isn't it. So, are we going to see how he does die as the comics progress, potentially in the final issue? Let's see if Stullinger dies, I suppose, in a few issues' time. Missy then says, "Finally! I told you," and they jump into the portal together, which has been opened up by, once again, a little old friend of Stu's. On the other side, Martin's rather pleased, because there's a PC there, which he's obviously going to use and apply his tech skills to in order to blah blah blah. The bio continues. "Now, that is more like it," he says. Straight away, Misty's pulling him away, just like the bio suggested would happen, and she says, "You can gawk at the gadgets later, Martin. Now it's time to run." And he's like, "Misty, Stu interrupts. "Why are you keeping these open? Do you want the zombies to follow us?" And then there's a bit of silence, and the zombies start coming through, and so I suppose the voice in Stu's head does want the zombies to follow them, which is rather interesting. I think you'll have to agree. Then, the final 2 panes of this one. "Russman can't shoot this many." We need to get somewhere safe. Oh yeah, because that's a thing we find all the time. Loving the sarcasm. Martin says, "This way." "Why should we listen to you, though?" argues Stullinger. "Is your supernatural communication system giving you any further instructions?" "No." "Then this way." So that's where the preview wraps up. it seems to be flowing in a direction that is going to present a scenario where issue 4 can quite easily just run on from this, because they're going to outwit the zombies with Martin's tech skills. He's going to use those digital defenses to his own ends, I suppose, and then they're going to try and escape somehow, maybe without the use of a portal this time, because they've finally learnt their lesson. They've realized the fact that if you go through a portal, the zombies are coming too, so they're going to try and find some alternative route out of the apocalyptic wasteland, and wherever that means that they end up, which is sort of open for debate right now, because the issue cover of issue number 4 is a little bit ambiguous as to their location. They're not at Broken Arrow anymore, but where they are is unknown, and so you can speculate about that in the comments down below if you so desire. But anyhow, it seems like it's going to follow on quite nicely, and I just can't help but wonder when the point is going to be when we learn the purpose of this comic. Treyarch don't do things for no reason, generally. Sometimes there are obviously just decisions that are made because of reasons that are not to do with the story at all, not to do with gameplay at all. It might be a financial thing, or it might be opening the door for a new medium of expression of something, which is, in a sense, what the comic is doing, in part at least, for sure, but there are generally meanings attached to things. They generally try and do things in a way that is going to inspire some thought and really add value to the story. And so, what I have to wonder is, why are we being given this comic? Because right now, it may as well not exist, and the zombies community would be pretty much in the same kind of place it originally was. Yes, it means that Treyarch have some kind of means to give us the end slate images, so we've had the zoomed out Nuketown picture, for example, which was really, really cool to see, and the fact that Schuster is there is fascinating. I want more Schuster info, holy moly, but surely releasing an entire comic just so they can release those is kind of overkill? They could have done that themselves on Twitter. Like, they don't need to release a comic to do it. So, where are we going from here? Where do we go? How do we know? I wonder. I'm going to leave that to you to think about, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little update video. I've been MrRoflWaffles. Thanks for watching. Leave one of those if you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.